It's a tale as old as time. On the Western Conference, we have Alaska facing off against British Columbia, U.S. versus Canada in our final series of the day. This is the semifinals we have been waiting for, Shibby. This is Division 3 for Marvel Rivals Collegiate here at NECC, and it couldn't get any more intense because these two teams played before, but it went the distance every single time, even though it was a 3-0 sweep in favor of the UBC Thunder.
Yeah, I think if you look at the box score, right, you'll see it's a 3-0 for UBC Thunder, as we do get the rosters here. Adderall, MSJZ, Jennison, Internet User, Don Quixote, and VTOM for UBC Thunder. And on the side of University of Alaska Fairbanks Varsity, DPS Jeffy Poo, Xbox Live, Moji Shark, Vivi Silverhand, He Who Spades, and Chizuka are going to be rounding out their roster. Before we get into like the rivalry and stuff like that, again, Vodible, one of my favorite parts of collegiate, rivals and collegiate esports is the names that we get. I mean, Jeffy Poo, someone just named themselves Xbox Live. Like, that's the funniest thing. I don't, and me and you are gonna have to be saying that
got
name.
KO'd by Xbox Live.
Yeah, like that's insane. Red Ring of Death. Who's gonna even know that? I don't know if anybody watching this knows what the Red Ring is, but yeah, I want to go back to what you mentioned because yes, UBC Thunder did get a 3-0, and yeah, the games, they weren't as stompy as you would think based off the box score, right? Xbox Live being the SVP in some of those matches on that Vanguard, but you had people like VTOM and Don Quixote abusing stuff like the Hella Namor. I say abusing, but it's kind of your fault if you let that stuff through.
Yeah.
They're really good on the meta stuff. I think the big thing, we kind of talked about it offline a little bit, Vodible, is that, UBC's support line just doesn't really die that often.
No.
Like, considerably. They're really good at knowing when to get out of fights. They're really good at understanding how to use their ultimates. Like, even typically you'll see someone like Don Quixote, someone like Sparky have a ton of that's 8, 9, 10. You know how much Jenny and Internet User have? 3 or 4 deaths. Like that's contrast that with Moji Shark and Chezuka or Chezkua, who have like 9, 10 deaths respectively. That's a big difference, right? If your supports are consistently down, whether that's due to poke, whether that's due to bad team fights, bad spacing, bad positioning, whatever, it can be tough to actually win those fights, and you more likely than not have to reset more consistently.
I'm just really curious on this run back between these two teams because looking at the journey for these squads to come here, they both took out teams from the same Western Conference to get to this point. We saw NAU drop to UBC. They took a map, though. That is the first time, mind you, that UBC has dropped a map all semester. They were 21-0 in maps until the playoffs. So they got to be thinking they got a chip on their shoulder, but maybe it's a similar situation to VP, right, in Ignite, where they drop maps and then they learn from it, and we'll see if that'll be enough for them to make up for that one mistake that we've seen from them. But NAU probably just caught them off guard because they didn't have as much footage against them compared to the rest of their conference. On the other side, though, University of Alaska Fairbanks 3-0 swept the CSU Rams to make their way through. So high on the mountaintops is the Alaska Fairbanks team against the competition. So this is going to be a great rematch. Again, as you mentioned, how close that best of 5 was. That still was a 3-0 sweep for UBC. This is kind of the team that put up the most resistance, it felt like, against UBC. So winner of this makes it to those finals. That'll be happening on the 2nd of December for their specific division. Loser at least gets a third place match against either SWOSU Blue or GCU Purple. It's both great colleges there and universities to try and make it through. And speaking of GCU Purple, they took down the SFU Landsharks, who was that second-seeded team in the same bracket of UBC and Alaska. So that's kind of huge that that team might be waiting the winner potentially on that side of things too. The SWOSU also got a 3-1 victory for there. So those are the stakes for this specific Western playoffs for Division 3, Shibby, but we're still waiting to hear from the players on exactly what they want to pick and ban. They're taking their time, powdering their noses and figuring out which heroes they like the most in this season.
Yeah, I do want to talk about GCU a little bit because they're like a pretty storied collegiate program when it comes to hero shooters, right? As we do get Krakoa being the map ban, and
it's back.
It's back to haunt my nightmares, my living, waking dreams, everything in between. Hydra Charteris base is here. I hate that map, Vodible. You want to talk about it? I feel like this.
we see why. We see why. So
Yeah.
again, we'll see how this one goes. I didn't get a chance to see exactly how the domination, which map it was last time that these two played upon, but I assume it's something similar to this. Maybe it was Krakoa last time, and that's why we did see the ban come out from, I believe it was UBC on that side. Either way, though, this is just kind of a neutral playing field for both of these teams. Both teams know this like the back of their hand at this point, and even more so because they've played this since the game released, since it was, I think in beta, this map was even in there. So like people know this map up, right, left, and center. So they know exactly where they need to go pathwise, if they want to portal directly to the objective to lock it down, if they want to go around, depending on what the compositions are going to be. But I'm most interested in how those bans are going to go, Shibby, because one thing to note for the side of Alaska is that they really like sharks. So many players on that team like to play Jeff, and if that gets banned out, it leaves them with a little less options.
Yeah, I'm interested to see as well on UBC Thunder's side. The crazy thing is 4 out of the 6 players on their main roster are dual roles, right? Two of them play every single, Don Quixote, VTOM, Adderall, and MSJZ all play Vanguard and Duelist, respectively. So can be a little interesting, like how much you can swap it through and through. Like for VTOM, he plays Groot, he plays Thing. But for somebody like MSJZ, he's the Mag, he's the Strange, right? He's the Cap player. So depending on what gets banned out, that's who potentially is going to be playing Vanguard, whether it's going to be the Cap team or it's going to be the Groot team. You know what I mean? Jenny and Internet User are the only two that are like one role strategist players. Yeah. But they have pretty wide hero pools. You did mention University of Alaska. They've also got a couple dual role specialists, duelists and strategists specifically. 3 of their players, DPS Jeffy Poo, Vivi, and Chezkua are all duelist strategist players. I'm interested in how this dynamic works when you have multiple dual role specialists, especially in the same team that all play the same role. I wonder if any arguments happen. We're like, well, I play Vanguard too, and you didn't play that fight right, or I play Duelist, and you need to take this off angle. But also, I think there's an advantage because if you have your Vanguard player who's played Duelist, he understands what your Duelist needs, right? Having that extra role depth, having that knowledge can be key in getting your team the victory in terms of getting your certain teammates the right resources, the right space, whatever. As we do get into the pick and ban phase, and UBC Thunder are taking out Flying Wolverine out of the map, rightfully so, especially on this map specifically. And there's the Spider-Man Protect over the Venom ban. I would 100% ban UBC Spider-Man because Adderall, that guy has like 1,000 games on Spider-Man or something like that.
So that means we're going to be getting sticky throughout the competition here. So we'll see how it goes with Spider-Man prowling the streets to keep them safe on the Charter's base. But Bucky is going to be the menace as well because they're going to just be using their Kraken Impact as best as possible to shut down some of those ultimates from the side of UBC, and we'll see how effective they are. I mean, they're pretty decent with dealing with people flying around the map, especially if they're like a really good aimer, and typically Bucky players are, so I expect big things for that.
Yeah, there's a lot of opportunities for Adderall to pull people into the
Abyss as
well. Yeah, and there's the Jeff ban coming in. Rightfully so. I don't think you want to give University of Alaska their Jeff.
No.
Just because, like you said, there's so many people that can play it. There's so many specialists. I mean, they've got Jeffy Poo and Moji Shark. If you're not banning Jeff, you're egoing at that point. The save here is going to be interesting. I like the Groot save specifically because of how good he is in Season 5 at the moment. The invulnerability to, essentially you cannot get CC'd. It gives you, you're immobile. I really like that. I like the fact that you can't get Wolverine off the map. He's not even a real counter anymore. He kind of is, but you got to take the Iron Wall down. Punisher is really big here. I like Emma, because it provides you that stable front line, especially if you want to pair it up with the Psylocke. That team up is still very, very strong. And if I look at UBC Thunder, if Adderall is going to be playing Spider-Man, then I do expect either one of Don, Quixote, VTOM, or MS to play the Psylocke if you want to go that full dive composition.
That's true.
I like Rocket being banned away as well. No Animal Crossing backline for us.
Yeah, not going to have to worry about the Cosmic Horn Amplifier for the extra damage, too, because that's going to be such a nuisance, especially when you're playing against UBC Thunder. I'm wondering how much of... There's the Psylocke ban, so actually they're not even going to worry about it. They don't want to worry about the other team having Psylocke available to them, because the team-up's still available, mind you, with Emma and Psylocke, which is so deadly, especially with building up that ult charge. So we'll see exactly what they can do with it in terms of this composition between these teams, but I see Spider-Man trying to save the day for their squad on UBC for Adderall. But on the other end, I mean, expecting big things from the Groot if that does come out. But look at Don Quixote. They're going to be locking in with that Daredevil. I've been waiting to see one of these.
Yeah, and it looks like Mario Kart World is actually going to be in here. It looks like Moji Shark will be the individual sub that. Now, obviously, Mario Kart World is also a strategist player. Luna, Rocket, Invis, all that kind of stuff. So I don't mind that. But I do love the Daredevil, like you mentioned, coming in here. No Psylocke, no problem. This dive combination from Spider-Man is disgusting. There's the Captain America, and that's all dependent, again, on what's getting banned out, what's getting played. Because you've got 4 players that all play both of the same roles, you can get really shifty in how you craft your compositions, and UBC Thunder just have that flex opportunity. I think it's way more valuable to have a Vanguard duelist flex than it is to have like a strategist duelist flex in my mind. As we do see on the University of Alaska side, there's somebody that I like to see. Xbox Live piloting the thing here, anticipating what is going to be the dive. It looks like Adderall swapped out of the Spider-Man, is going to opt in for the Magic because you have that team up with VTOM. Looking how this first fight plays out, there's a lot of poke that can come out from University of Alaska Fairbanks that can soften up UBC, whereas UBC, a lot more burst heavy.
Yeah, we'll have to look into the future to see the vision here for VTOM and Adderall with the combination. But already Jenny-san getting knocked out of the competition for now on the first objective with this team fight. And everyone's dropping like flies on UBC Thunder. They can't even sustain themselves long enough to keep on this first engagement. VTOM's left alone with the Dark Magic, just trying to keep it delayed long enough for them not to capture the objective. And they go down themselves. Nobody survived or even got a pick onto University of Alaska. That's a huge first fight win.
Yeah, Vivi Silverhand went down late into that fight, but is going to come back completely fine here. And that's the poke that I mentioned, right? The cleave from Storm and Moon Knight. Like, he's already at 80% ultimate charge. UBC Thunder have opted in for Groot, which I don't actually agree with into this composition. This dive comp just can't work because you actually aren't allowed to even set up because you're getting pelted with onks, you're getting pelted with storm autos. It is tough to play into this, and he's already got Hand of Khonshu.
We'll see it come out at some point, too. They're waiting to see if they can actually combo it with either clobbering time or something else, but they're just using it to stay alive at this point, and it's not even worthwhile because we do see the Bucky also get an elimination onto them. Finally, the Storm at least gets something for it. They get Don Quixote out of the play, so good looks for them. Omega Hurricane popping on it through, waiting for the bait out of the invisible boundary. See one on both ends. Kraken Impact, though, does come online, and this is just a wipe again. UBC Thunder, though, they're actually bouncing back a little bit. Got a couple picks of their own. MSJZ, great work on the play for the Magneto. That's a huge grab on the Emma. Even if they couldn't stay alive, they at least delayed it a little bit longer. So UBC Thunder finally win the team fight. Some good ultimate usage from their side ultimately won them it.
Yeah, VTOM specifically hits a nice strangling prison outside of the invisible boundary from Cheskua, and that's what locks up that team fight win for them. So UBC Thunder being really aware of where and when they can ultimate, I think, has been really crucial. And that first fight win, gonna need to extend this percentage a little bit longer because 60% has been taken for University of Alaska. UBC Thunder have to poke and prod here and hopefully look to wall off something like the Thing or the Emma so they can get those picks. Wall into grab is how they're gonna win these team fights.
I'm expecting the clobbering time to come out momentarily from Xbox Live. They can at least stay alive to get towards the objective and then eventually see that Hand of Khonshu reign supreme from the Moon Knight. But there's the Kraken Impact, a good combination there with the Strangling Prison. They got a couple of picks, but it wasn't enough. Xbox Live shuts them down with a Red Ring of Death right hook. And there is the Omega Hurricane that comes on through. Great support ultimates to keep them alive in the fight and on the objective. They don't want to be sent back to the respawn room for now. Vivi must back up, and well, they got to respawn themselves. And that was a great hold from UBC Thunder.
And Don Quixote has swapped over to the Mr. Fantastic. Hand of Khonshu does come down, though.
Not really too much that they could have done with it, though. I think it was a bit of a wasted ultimate on that one. We did see Don Quixote with the Mr. Fantastic, keeping them involved, bouncing around the competition and sending them backing. This is great looks from UBC Thunder, and just a perfect reasoning as to why they were able to sweep Alaska before. But there's still some percentage available for University of Alaska to portal into the objective, and we'll see what they can do with it.
Yeah, the TP is going to come into here. No ultimates available for University of Alaska. UBC Thunder do have the Between Both Worlds to work with, and the first kill comes in.
Well, that's a great kill there too, but we'll see if there's more that's following from it afterwards. Overtime has been enacted at least, and Alaska are holding it down using the portal for cover, but will it be enough? There is the crude ultimate. The Strangling Prison comes through at one point in time to at least get a double, but they want to stay on the objective as long as possible. Kraken Impact waiting for their time to strike, biting for the moment that the Viper is ready to be unleashed against them. Ayabagamoto comes out. They can't uppercut them fast enough, and even with the mag bubbles, they will get pushed back, at least for now. University of Alaska getting some crucial percentage. Invisible Boundary, though, is going to keep them in the fight. Armed and Dangerous, Kraken Impact got at least a couple. Daredevil looking to build up there, let the Devil out to have them focus on Daredevil as much as possible. But this positioning from University of Alaska has won them this for now. We'll see when the next engagement comes through.
Yeah, this Emma Strange is going to go in momentarily, and this Daredevil is just trying to do work right now. I don't know if it's the answer, though. Just trying to get back on the point as quick as possible. Don Quixote, though, does have the Mr. Fantastic ultimate ready to go. He's ready to bounce on it. Crazy style, as here comes the ultimates.
That's exactly what we want to see from them too, but no, the Daredevil gets a couple of pieces of the pie and is full with it because they get just vanquished afterwards. And well, University of Alaska, doesn't matter if they sacrifice Daredevil for now, because they are the ones owning Hell's Kitchen, especially with overtime going in their favor. It felt like UBC Thunder had it all in the bag, but University of Alaska Fairbanks varsity, say that 10 times fast, had their mouths full with all of the elims. Every time they took down UBC, they could not push on the objective. Mr. Fantastic is not a meta character. Don't play it in these scenarios.
And Don Quixote, this is his most played hero in Marvel Rivals. I get why he wants to swap to it. It's a comfort pick, but 2 final hits is just not enough, right? Mr. Fantastic, when you run this hero, you most of the time severely lack on the damage end front, and you can see that very clearly. Look at DPS Jeffy Poo, look at Vivi Silverhand, 17,000, 11,000 respectively. They've got a good amount of elims as well between them, right? 5 and 2. Unfortunately, Adderall just cannot carry everything, right? Xbox Live did a very good job, whether it was on the Doctor Strange or it was on the Thing, to confirm those eliminations. But now we're going to see UBC Thunder, Adderall specifically, swap to his most played hero. Like I mentioned, more than 1,000 games on Spider-Man in totality of Marvel Rivals. I mean, this dude put on the mask and never really took it off.
They are the hero that UBC Thunder needed, but we'll see if they can get any of their grabs to get those initial picks on to University of Alaska Fairbanks, and that is what they're searching for, seeing if they can catch them off guard, send them off the map itself towards the side. But they're actually going into cover, which is exactly where you want to be when you're facing off against a Spider-Man. You don't want to give them a chance for that pull off the objective. They're seeing if they can get at least one of them away from the rest of their team for a pick. Ayabagamoto, a bit wasted by Xbox Live on that play, countered out by Jenny's son there on the Fate of Both Worlds. So this is a good usage of that ultimate. They got the damage boost from it too, and we see multiple of them dropping as well, but a good KO back, a bounce back for Xbox Live, but he can only hold on against the brink of extinction while the rest of their team drops down, and well, they won't be able to hold the first objective for now. UBC Thunder bites back.
And UBC Thunder have kind of swapped just over to a brawl comp, right? You've got Invisible Woman, you've got Mr. Fantastic, obviously the team up is there, and Spider-Man, yeah, he's a dive hero, don't get me wrong, but his uppercut can land onto multiple members. He can poke and prod and look for these pulls potentially, look for one of these supports to be out of position, and then strike when the iron is hot. Look at him, he's just being annoying. He's forcing, University of Alaska to turn around and look at him, which gives them the extra space to push in on this brawl comp, essentially pincering University of Alaska a little bit more.
Yeah, waiting to see if they can use the get over here to at least get them away from their teammates and focus them. And that's exactly what we see happen here. The uppercut goes through, focusing on the Vanguard so they can't do anything about it. And they will have to push back to their own spawn room to recover and recuperate. Maybe they'll have to rest and relax as well for a second to get back on the objective. We see a couple swaps coming through this time.
Xbox Live swapping over, and what a pull! Does he get it off? No! The terrain, unfortunately, does not work, but a psionic seduction in the spawn, Vodible?
That was interesting from Vtom, but hey, they're trying to just dominate the competition. They showed how close they were to capping the objective before. They have their ultimates available to them. The spectacular spin is here. The Brainiac bounce is available, and you haven't heard those names in some time in competitive, so we got to say them at least a little bit. But the Let the Devil Out's also available for Vivi Silverhand, and they can't even get to the objective because of the push from UBC Thunder. That is the dominance we expected from them in map 1. They just kind of let it slip away from them too soon. So going to that third objective, Super Soldier Factory we go.
And with the way that map 1 went, Vodible, you couldn't have gotten me to bet anything that map 2 would go 99-0 in the favor of UBC Thunder. I thought University of Alaska would be able to put up a bit of a fight, and we talked about Adderall swapping over to something a little bit more, you know, damage heavy, a little bit something to get more elims. His final hits only went up by 1. It's actually Jenny who, from the support role on this Luna Snow, that is confirming a lot of these kills. This brawl composition is just outlasting University of Alaska. And now the question is, what do they respond with? Because I don't think Daredevil's the answer into Mr. Fantastic, into Invisible Woman, into Emma Frost. You've got to play something a little bit more range, maybe something that can put a lot of pressure on them, maybe a double hit scan composition, as we do see DPS Jeffy Poo has swapped over to that Star-Lord, but he's got to build up ultimates. UBC Thunder have such a bevy of ultimates in their bank accounts right now. Spectacular spin, Brainiac bounce, like there's so much damage.
So much damage that they can enact at the flip of a dime, and we're expecting it to happen at any moment, but there's also the Let the Devil Out available for Vivi, so they're waiting for their prime moment to strike and trying to see if they can focus on either the Spider-Man on the back line. We do see they get sticky here as well, but Mario Kart World going down. The great choke slam onto Adderall, so they are a moot point on the banknotes of this point for UBC Thunder, but there's the Let the Devil Out, trying to get them to focus on the Daredevil, do some good damage and distraction for this team. Great Luna Snow ultimate that, again, Jenny Sun has been on point with those ultimates. A good backhand from Vivi to at least get some of them out of play for now, but Jenny Sun just can't be stopped.
Yeah, Jenny Sun's confirming those kills very well. Xbox Live, though, maybe coming in with a couple more kills, and Jeffy Poo on this Star-Lord cleaning up the fight. Janitorial duty, clean up on aisle 5. Jeffy Poo doing a very good job on this Star-Lord.
It's a tough right. Well. Yeah, I mean, has their ultimate available. It felt like UBC Thunder were doing so well in that team fight for the initial point, but then eventually we saw Adderall and Don Quixote just going down immediately, and then they had no damage that they could dish out. So they're just such odd heroes to position against the team, and that's what we're seeing happen here. So they do have the Galactic Legend available to them. Using the Invisible Boundary early from UBC Thunder might have been a better option to save that for later, and now we do have the Galactic Legend ready to come online at some point, and here it goes. Legendary comes through, but they won't survive long enough. Vtom just beams them down, and some just awkward plays from both teams.
I didn't like that at all. I mean, 3 members are down for University of Alaska, and Jeffy Poo decides to now burn the Galactic Legend. I mean, this is something that could be used to win this next fight if he just held on to it. I really do not approve of that ultimate usage, and it might end up biting them in the rear as Strangling Prison does come out.
That's what we like to see, a great Strangling Prison, but it does force both the Invisible Boundaries, and we also have a double support ultimate on the side of UBC Thunder. Maybe not the best timing for their side of things, but there is some good looks from Don Quixote as they just go crazy against the competition with the Brainiac bounce. When they are confined in that hallway, it bounces up and down that much faster, and you cannot escape the clutches of those elongated arms.
Yeah, the rotations per minute increases by a lot in those confined spaces. Like it's kind of insane how fast he goes, and the Spider-Man ultimate is here. The spectacular spin. Surely this is going to pick up a couple kills here. Invisible Boundary does get used. No kills yet wait a minute.
Okay, there we go. Spider-Man finally getting the spectacular spin to get something, a triple for their name, focusing on the group, but they can only do so much. They are just trying to delay them from the objective as long as possible. Be a menace to the back line and takes out Shizuka there as quickly as they can, and they're still just being in front of them, playing in their faces and saying, hey, you got to take me out if you want to get to the objective.
That's the New York beatdown coming out from Spider-Man. I thought he was going to go for a map pull there. Very well played from Adderall. This is why they saved this hero, because just what he can do, how annoying he is on this Spider-Man. And University of Alaska does have the legendary combo. Hand of Conchu and Strangling Prison are available. They just got to get it down.
Exactly what they do. A couple of picks here from both of them. A triple on the side of DPS Jeffy Poo, and they have already won themselves the objective. Some great percentage was built up, though, by UBC Thunder. Got to see what they can do with it.
99% for UBC Thunder. They just got to win one team fight, stack the ultimates. Internet User and Jenny both have their support ultimates available and ready to go. They just have to make the mistake of not double support ulting. Meanwhile, Adderall just being an absolute mosquito for University of Alaska here. And that pull might just be the way UBC Thunder goes in.
Oh, that's exactly what we wanted to see from Adderall. Perfect positioning, taking out the Vanguard so they won't be able to bubble their team as the rest of the ultimates come through. More of them dropping it down again, focusing on the Groot so that they can't even get onto the objective to try and hold it in the last couple of seconds. They want to close things out before OT, but there's the portal from the Doctor Strange, who can barely survive themselves. And you see Adderall just taking their time, waiting for them to drop in. Spectacular spin goes through, and everyone getting KOs on the side of UBC Thunder. They vanquish their foes and move on for the first map win.
Poetry in motion. Just watching a Spider-Man players play Spider-Man in competitive is like watching Da Vinci paint in real time. I cannot explain to you how amazing it is to watch Adderall go to work, but rightfully so. Jenny's son is going to pick up the MVP, 30-4 on a Luna Snow. Have you ever seen a scoreline like that on a support? I don't think so. 9 final hits as well, contributing both to the damage side and the healing side. 45k healing and 11k damage. I mean, that's tough to do, especially when there's an Invisible Woman on your team who is the de facto #1 support. Very well played from UBC Thunder, and Adderall doubled his final hit count from round 2 to 3, by the way. 10 to 20. Just bonkers. And Don Quixote heard me talking. He's like, what do you mean I don't got damage? What do you mean I can't confirm hits? Let me just Brainiac bounce in a 2-foot hallway and watch the kills pile up. Very well played from UBC Thunder. That last map specifically, the big difference maker for me, Vodible, was the ultimate usage and how conservative they were in understanding of when can we use these ultimates to win these next fights. Whereas, like I said, Jeffy Poo using that Galactic Legend when 3 of his members died, that was terrible. That was the reason why the point was flipped immediately. Imagine they had that for when they respawned to that next fight. There were no support ultimates available. It was an easy fight win for them.
A tough spot to be in, for sure, for Alaska, because the way that they looked so solid when they took over the odds in that first map, that first objective, seemed to be like, okay, they might be able to put up some fight. And then Spider-Man appeared on the scene and saved the day for New York yet again. So it's tough. If you do not ban Spider-Man, you're going to have a bad time, is what we've learned from this first objective play between these two teams. And they should have known that by seeing the hero pool from these players. And if you know there's a good Spider-Man on the other team, especially on Domination, there's a lot you can't really do against them on Hydra base, because there's so many open spots on 2 out of the 3 different objectives that you can go to there. So that's kind of what we saw happen with those. But I think the big thing, even before we went to that final one, the Super Soldier Factory, when we were kind of in the other area, was that they were actually supporting their team to get the elims instead of going for the final hits themselves. A lot of times you see the Spider-Man go into the back line and just try to get single frags, but instead they were pulling them to their team, using the get over here, and then their team would focus down the Vanguard or focus down the strategist, and using their team as kind of like a damage blast against them so that they could confirm those kills that way. And I really like that kind of play from the Spider-Man. And then, Don Quixote, as you mentioned, just bouncing around, having a good time. And because of how much health that they can get when they are in their second form and they're using their elastic strength, then they are just untouchable. They have so much health. They can get healed now because of the changes that have happened with Season 5 coming out too. So it's not just the bonus health that you get. You actually want to stay in that form a little bit. And then was just able to put up some sustained damage that was enough for them to confirm kills on with just using the Luna Snow. So I like the combination that we saw here. It's definitely unorthodox, and that's why a lot of teams probably struggled against them.
Yeah, like I said, I was very worried on the damage-centric part, but like you mentioned, they kind of just turned it into like a brawl, death ball composition, right? The get over heres were kind of just used as like mobile Wolverine pulls, and then like you said, you're getting hit with a giant DPS blast. Imagine getting pulled and you just get hit with the final flash from like 5 members. It's done. It's over, and like you can't really counter that unless you're running like double shield. And the big play there from Adderall was that final fight where he just yoinked Magneto off the map immediately. Once you lose your mag, once you lose your shield, that brawl composition is just going to run through. And you saw exactly how that happened. So very well played from Don Quixote. I mean, making fantastic work in a meta, in a game where, he hasn't really been the best hero for multiple seasons. I'm just kind of surprised. He got some buffs like you mentioned, right? He now heals. He goes into that over health form or the mega form. He doesn't have bonus health, so you can get healed in it. You're at 750 or whatever. It's kind of crazy.
It also gives him health when he's like almost dead too. I think it's like 350 or something like that. That he just gains. Yeah, which is wild. So if you're about to die, do that, and then you get that extra health, and you can be healed over top of that for like 600 or something health. So
and you have
it's a lot of HP. Yeah, and his team up.
Yeah, kind of unkillable. Maybe we'll see the rise of Mr. Fantastic as we go through this series. UBC, though, doing a good job. Looked a little shaky in map 1. Kind of fumbled the bag on that overtime. I think they kind of got a little bit overzealous, but they cleaned up their ultimate usage. I think the really big thing from UBC Thunder as well is recognizing when ultimates are misused or misplaced. University of Alaska, granted, they were matching support ult for support ult, but a lot of the time, Chesgua or Mario Kart, they weren't positioning their invisible woman ultimates or their boundaries as well as I'd like to see. Because a lot of the time what we saw is that UBC Thunder, specifically VTOM, would be able to get a Strangling Prison outside of the invisible boundary, and then they would just be an instant kill, right? You'd be able to follow up with something like a Moon Knight ultimate or a Kraken Impact, something like that. So UBC Thunder, on top of being very good on their ultimate usage, it just feels like they're paying attention and they're just kind of locked in right now.
Yeah, I like the change over to the Emma at the end there too, just to use Psionic Seduction so they can't even push towards the objective, right? So that way they're just contained in their little box and they can't escape from it. So unfortunately, they'll have to wait for the next map to see how things go there. Again, this is Convergence. It went decently well for UBC last time. I believe it was 3-2 on that side. So we'll see what they decide on which map it's going to be, which side either team will be on here as well. But it's tough to like ban against this composition because of the unorthodox nature of it, right? Because you have the Mr. Fantastic, because you have the Spider-Man, and to know what to play against those when you aren't as used to playing against them at the high levels of ranks, because you usually see one tricks and you're like, oh, I could just ban that one tricks hero and they don't play it. So
yeah. Well, Vodible, you know what else is tough? The amount of blue light that's going into your eyes when you're playing in tournament matches, video games, or when you're just browsing the web, or if the blue light's right behind you. So luckily, we've got premium blue light glasses by BYE by Blue Light. I mean, I have a pair back there. I know you guys don't see it. I've shown it before. Their premium blue light glasses keep you sharp, focused, and ready for victory without the eye strain, and that's the important part. So level up your game and protect your vision. I would check out Buy Blue Light today, the official eye care partner of the NECC. That's BYEBluelight.com. I'm going to say it again, BYEBluelight.com. Get your pair today, tomorrow, whenever, because I promise you, if you do a lot of near work like me or Vodible, you're on the computer a lot, it helps, man. Eye strain is real. My partner's an eye doctor, and she tells me all the time, like, just take care of them. You only get one set. You don't get to replace them.
That's true. And, well, we only get one series here as well for these teams. So you can't really replace the results that you've had. And we saw some results from the side of UBC versus Alaska Fairbanks. And the Alaska team, last time it didn't go to OT for them. They got stopped before. It was a 3-2 finish for that. So we'll have to see exactly what their strategy is going to be. They're taking a lot of time to delineate amongst themselves and figure out, okay, this is the map that we should go for. These are the bands we should go for. But they can't have that much time, right? Because you can only be allowed so much between these maps. We're not giving you a full 10 minutes. We're only taking breaks between map 2 and map 3 and then map 4 and 5 if we get to that point. But based on what we saw that time, Shibby, I don't know if we'll get to a map 4.
Yeah, I think UBC did a very good job in handling the most volatile map, right? I mean, consistently Vodible domination is the map where the on-paper teams, the worst ones, quote-unquote, can sneak a series win or sneak a map win, but UBC handled it very well. Convoy and Convergence tend to be the maps where the better team on paper or the better team that we see do tend to win out pretty consistently. Now, look, not to say that certain teams can't be Convergence-focused or Convoy-focused. Like, surely there is that, and domination is a lot more momentum-based, but UBC Thunder is going to have the pleasure of defending first, right? Because the map pick that's going to come out from University of Alaska, which is obviously a lot more advantageous. Defending first is nice because then you can know how much you have to push it forward if they don't get it across the map. As well as the map selection is what I'm interested in, because they're, like you said, they're delineating a lot here.
They played Central Park last time.
Yeah, Central Park might be the call here, but with the Season 5 changes, does it now warrant a Groot and Penny ban? Because look, we've talked about it before. The Season 5 changes swapped and created a lot of interesting vanguards, but we're actually going to go to Symbiotic Surface.
I like it.
There we go. A map where there are plenty of full holds and another pretty good Penny map. Like, I'm not going to say it's not her best. It's definitely Central Park. And then I would put like Symbiotic Surface up there for sure as one of her better maps here. There is opportunity for some Penny Rocket shenanigans here, especially with the buffs that she got, where she now gives her teammates healing, move speed, over health, like, and then you combine that with the Rocket armor packs. Supports can have 75 extra bonus health. Dive players everywhere just shrieked out in terror when I said that.
I mean, I'm surprised we haven't seen any teams starting with that in spawn room, right? If it's available to them, because we saw that happen a lot in Ignite, and you want to, like, when I talked to Knuten, who used to be on the Zero Tenacity roster, they were saying, like, yeah, the reason why they would do that is so that if they have the extra, like, 25 to whatever bonus health, that could be the difference between them living and dying in a team fight. And that's what you kind of need to know if you can keep yourselves alive as long as possible. I mean, that's why those Jeff bubbles are so good, right? If you can place them around as you're going to an objective or a capture point, so your teammates can maneuver around them and grab them up as best as possible to keep themselves sustained. And sustaining your teammates is the name of the game for the strategy side of things, but also banning Venom so you don't have to worry about Venom, and Spider-Man is a big thing. But I would just ban Spider-Man at that point. I don't know.
Maybe they've got a counter they're cooking up here. I don't expect UBC to really change it. Like, yeah, maybe the Namor, maybe they'll protect it here over the Hela, which I think would be a lot better. Thing kind of worked, but once UBC swapped over to the Groot, you can't really play the Thing. They're going to protect the Jeff, which is actually a viable dive counter, right? Because the extra healing that you get off the bubbles and the stream, right? You know, we talked to Moxie not too long ago, and she said, Jeff can heal you from a whole map away. He could be playing on a different map and still be able to heal your team. That's how insane his range is. And actually going to ban the Hela away from UBC Thunder, despite, I think, the ones needing the extra threat, the extra anti-dive threat on their side. I like this from UBC Thunder, though. They are going to take away the Jeff NATO opportunity. And the Groot save is really nice. This is Groot's best map. One of the best maps, by the way.
Oh, yeah, I agree as well. And I think this is going to be very difficult for you to fight off against an entrenched group, right? Because so many people struggle against good group players. And we saw some great group play from UBC Thunder when they were performing with them before they swapped to the Emma towards the end of it. So I like the group pick, especially because they now have that movable when they do have their Ironwood wall available to them. The Psylocke available on the other end is interesting. I would not be surprised if we see an Emma ban coming out from UBC Thunder, though, because the Psylocke was saved. And I don't think they were necessarily going... Well, I think we did see a Psylocke ban, actually, now that I mentioned that. Yeah, we did UBC see that. Thunder, so they want to make sure they at least have some more damage available to them. No more Rocket Raccoon. Again, that's similar to what we saw last time. So similar story for the most part, but securing their most favorited heroes, which, yeah, there's the Emma ban.
Yeah, I think if they saved the Emma, they would have banned the Psylocke. You save the Psylocke, you ban the Emma. I think on this map, I value the Psylocke a lot more. There's a lot of different crevices and nooks and crannies you can get into and get out of when you're diving. I low-key think there's a lot of untapped potential with the Phoenix and Widow support, we'll call it, right? Because of the healing shots.
If we ever saw that, I would laugh.
There's something there. There's something there. I know there is. We just have to wait for a team to actually get it going.
One day.
I love that UBC Thunder is just kind of opening up with what is likely going to be VTOM on the Groot, and then Don Quixote is going to play that Moon Knight. Adderall is going to be playing the, I'm going to say, the poke and prod Spider-Man, right? Not the dive Spider-Man, the poke and prod and be annoying Spider-Man. There's a couple different ways you can play him. A lot of the ones like to go for the flashy stuff, as well as Adderall does have an opportunity to pull people off the map here as long as he can get the animation cancels off. But Don Quixote, circumventing all my expectations, is just going to opt in for the Daredevil. But last time they opened up with this, University of Alaska was able to easily counter it.
Yeah, I mean, it was a good counter, and they swapped to Mr. Fantastic, but I feel like Mr. Fantastic just isn't as effective here on Convergence, especially because of how open-ended this first lane is to the objective. So we'll see if they're going to be going for a portal. No, they're just going to be walking it straight down Main Street, trying to see if they can at least spot out the Spider-Man. I like the way that the Jeff is focusing them down, too, because they have, like, unlimited range with their spit.
Yep.
They can target them so much more easily and make it that much faster for either the Phoenix or someone else to take them down. So Adderall can only do so much on this first engagement. It's going to come down to the rest of their team.
Yeah. I'm going to see Adderall looking to be a little bit annoying. I don't think he's going to be pulling anyone to his team. He's going to be looking for that Jeff specifically. Because once the Jeff can line up properly, as we do see crack the whip, and there we go!
Oh, man, the Jeff taken out. They're looking for the Invisible Woman afterwards, barely staying alive, though they got the uppercut, trying to get the snipe onto them for the double headshot. There it goes with the web slinger. That's what they needed for UBC Thunder to shut down that first push by University of Alaska.
Don Quixote went back to spawn and said, "Yeah, I'm not playing Daredevil. I'm just going to go back to Mr. Fantastic." Rightfully so. A nice pull. Does he get it off?
No, I didn't get it.
Doesn't. But that lack of tank being there on that front line actually allowed MSJZ to pick up a kill onto University of Alaska Fairbanks. And because UBC's on the defensive side first, they've already burned a minute and a half from University of Alaska. And Adderall, like I said, man, this is just watching DaVinci Paint in real time.
Yeah, some great heals also from the back line too, just to keep them involved until they're ready to dive in, and that's the big look here. We do see the invisible boundary, the uppercut comes through, there's some potential for the Moon Knight ultimate here by DPS Jeffy Poo, who's not on the Jeff, mind you. They're actually focusing more on the damage, trying to see if they can get the Strangling Prison and the Hand of Khonshu combo. They do have it available, but Xbox Live going down to Don Quixote is not going to make it even easier for them to get at least a team fight win, because every time they go for a challenge so far, it's not been working. I do like this as a way to counter out Adderall. Make sure you put down the Unk so they can't go against you, and using those bounces freely with the Crescents. So that's a great way to do it.
That guy looks straight down
here goes.
And like you said, Hand of Khonshu coming in and getting responded with multiple support ultimates. I don't actually think a kill is going to come out from either of this. University of Alaska does have the ability to reset a little bit better here. They got 3 ultimates in their bank, and now we're going to see the real fight begin, Vodible.
And we did see the Phoenix ult drop down to at least get rid of the competition. For now, Invisible Boundary in favor of University of Alaska this time. Meteor M, that was massive on the DPS Jeffy Poo, but another Strangling Prison can't contain the Cloak and Dagger Eternal Bond as it goes to the objective instead. Jenny's Sun dances on the graves of their opponents and tries to damage boost them, because that is what is lacking for UBC Thunder, is that damage and fragability. Eye Agamotto can't even do enough either, because there is a Spider-Man swinging through and dealing damage against the support line. Nobody is going to escape their notice of the amazing Spider-Man, and he finally is fallen, but it will be UBC Thunder winning the fight yet again.
Adderall with arguably the 2 most impactful kills of that fight. When it looked lost for UBC Thunder, he comes in clutch, finds Invisible Woman, and the ability to just immediately find the Cloak and Dagger and redirect and just get in and get that combo going. I mean, hey, Spider-Man got buffed. He does a little bit more damage. You got to be aware of where he's at all times here. I did like that Jeff answer that you mentioned, but they swapped that over, and Xbox Live is now playing Hulk, and I just don't know if that's the move into Spider-Man, Mr. Fantastic, and Groot. Hand of Khonshu is going to come down, though.
Oh, that's a beautiful hand of Khonshu from DPS Jeffy Poo. Got the triple for themselves, getting rid of a lot of the kind of barriers that they had going to the objective, especially with Vitom on the Groot. Not having to deal with those Groot walls is great. Adderall still just trying to delay them before they can capture the objective fully. And that's exactly what they need to do, right? They need to get in, get out, delay the capture for at least a couple of seconds. I don't think they got a touch, though, unfortunately, on it. So they just were more of a nuisance than anything else, but a reset for UBC Thunder and a big delay for Jenny Sun to get back with their team. This is actually a good look to run it down for University of Alaska Fairbanks.
I just want to see Don Quixote swap to something that does more damage. And, you know, maybe I'm cursing him, and he's like, all right, Shibby, I'll raise you. I'm going to go Brainiac Bounce and end this match really quickly. But it does feel like if Adderall doesn't get those opening picks, if he doesn't get that opening kill, it's a little tough for UBC Thunder to actually put the damage onto University of Alaska, who's now swapped to a much more brawl-style composition. Answers with multiple ultimates. 2 kills come in, though, for UBC Thunder. That should just be the fight end.
Should be, but we do see the Worldbreaker Hulk available for Xbox Live and the Hand of Khonshu as well. Adderall's just getting free reign on the back line, and nobody's giving him any trouble with it either. He's just going to be able to easily convert that elimination, and nobody will back up their supports. And that is the reason why University of Alaska Fairbanks have been struggling so much. Yeah, you can have some solid vanguards on the front and maybe a couple of extra bubbles, the exile as you're trying to do on the Spider-Man, but only do so much. Finally, they do vanquish the Red Menace in Spider-Man as they take them down and probably report to the Daily Bugle of their good work afterwards. But even then, Hand of Khonshu comes through. There is the Eternal Bond from Moji Shark, and mind you, they did sub in for Nintendo Mario Kart World, and I'm liking this look so far from Alaska if they can keep this going.
University of Alaska getting a lot of good distance here. Don Quixote just, I don't know, has the ability to hold this, although he just did brawl out the Daredevil. It's still pushing, though. We're going to see Hand of Khonshu come in, though.
A good Hand of Khonshu. Doesn't really get any picks of it, but does get them away from the objective for now, so they can try and push back towards it. But as I mentioned, that Don Quixote is just keeping themselves alive throughout all of it. They are just going to be a thorn in the side of any advancement from University of Alaska and be the day ruiner, the huge stagger here onto He Who Spades, and try to see if they can at least get a pick for it. But now they have a whole 8 seconds and counting to get back to the objective. They can't portal as well with no time remaining. There's Adderall coming through again with a pick onto DPS Jeffy Poo, and they need to see if they can res at least at the last moment. Portal does come through. There's the invisible boundary for both of them, but no, it gets countered out by Adderall instead. And this is a massive blunder from University of Alaska as they needed that to go through. Barely on the objective. Worldbreaker Hulk, the last remaining bastion of defense on the point, and they can't stay alive as long as they would want. Finally, the Brainiac Bounce available for Don Quixote, but they don't need to worry. They have all the elasticity available to them. The damage coming through. Aya Magamoto from He Who Spades, but still trying to hold things down as best as possible. Brainiac Bounce with a triple can clean up the rest of the competition, and UBC Thunder shuts it down before point 2.
I knew Adderall was going to cancel that straight. I was like, wait a minute, look at him. He's going for something cheeky. Just the game sense, the awareness coming out from UBC Thunder, specifically Adderall on this Spider-Man. Beautifully well played. Don Quixote as well on this fantastic. I said he didn't have the damage. He proved me wrong once again.
Yep.
9 final hits, matching Adderall every time. And I think a lot of that is due to Jenny Sun being a really good enabler, right? Swapping over to that damage boost when Don Quixote uses that Brainiac Bounce just amplifies the damage so much more here. This 1-2 combo, this unorthodox duo that you said, Vodible, Spider-Man and Mr. Fantastic, if that was locked in my ranked games, someone would be throwing immediately.
100%, but nothing's being thrown except haymakers from both of them. Uppercuts and then the elongated arms just slapping the rest of the team around. Yeah, all hands being thrown a piece against the other team of University of Alaska. But he who spades, finally we do see the new Penny Parker adjustments in play. They don't have the Rocket Raccoon available because it was banned out for them too, so they can't have that extra spawner themselves. But this is a good position. We've seen it happen so often, using those mines if anyone tries to push past this objective, and this is one good way to lock things down. But I also like DPS Jeffy Poo on the Wolverine.
Yeah, I kind of wish we see it paired up with that Phoenix. Doesn't need it necessarily. Did get some nice little buffs. But again, it's not a true counter into the Groot as long as the Groot has that Ironwood wall down, who's also pretty good into the Penny as long as you can raise those nests. So we'll see. As I say that, though, Bubble comes in, but that Kidnap already is going to signal potentially a kill here.
Maybe, but I think they were able to escape with it just enough so they don't have to worry too much. Great heals that were coming out from the UBC Thunder backline. Adderall goes into the fray, but a little bit less effective on the attacking end with the wide open angles. They have to worry about moving around and maneuvering behind them. They're going to take out at least the rest of them on the back end, but Vitom was the one who was the MVP of that team fight. Used their Groot walls perfectly and just picked them apart at the seams.
I mean, surely University of Alaska swapped to Punisher here. Like, I get the Winter Soldier. It's a classical counter. But again, the fact that Groot gets that immovable, right? He cannot be CC'd. You're not really going to be able to pull him here. And the fact that you're running a shield comp or a shield hero into what is effectively double melee DPS is tough. You're not getting a ton of value here. Strangling Prison does come down, though.
It's a good look too, trying to at least get some good damage against them using their embiggened form. And we do have the last stand coming through from the Wolverine to at least get them off the objective. And final duel between Spider-Man and Invisible Woman. Even with the buffs coming through, it's not enough to sustain themselves. Finally, they realize that they have the self-shield that just got added in their most recent update. Keeps them in the fight for now, and Adderall did have to back off of that one, but they are going to go after the Cloak and Dagger, forcing them to swap over to try and stay alive. Terror Cloak is a good counter, so they can't see where they are going, but look at the combo. Brainiac Bounce and Spectacular Spin available to UBC Thunder. They're just waiting to see if they can get anything from it, and that's exactly when Adderall strikes, takes out Jessica. Ayabagamoto is going to be countered a little bit here by Don Quixote. Cracking impact, though, from Vivi might be enough if they actually got it onto somebody that they could take out. Don Quixote is just throwing hands against the competition. They don't have anything to put up against it. They need somebody to ring the bell, and they're still keeping in the fight.
Big Meteor M coming in from MSJZ. Doesn't land on anyone, unfortunately. His Brainiac Bounce could do some damage, but University of Alaska doing a good job trying to withstand the ultimate barrage from UBC Thunder.
Not much time here to get to that final objective. They need to hold down as best as they can because look how much is available to UBC Thunder. There comes the clobbering time as well from Xbox Live to at least send them backing for now. But look out for Adderall as they will take out the backline again. Finally, they are vanquished on the defensive end, so they will have to reset to their own spawn room. That's a good look from Xbox Live off the thing. They knew they at least needed some sort of Vanguard that could go toe-to-toe with this brawl-heavy composition of UBC Thunder.
Look what UBC Thunder put in their back pocket. Vitom said, oh, you want to go hand for hand? You want to go fist for fist? You want to get into a heavyweight boxing match with moi? UBC Thunder have gotten 3 melee heroes ready to go, and Vitom has already taken out 1.
Oh, there's 2 players down on University of Alaska Fairbanks, and there goes another. Their entire force that was remaining on the objective can't even stay on the point long enough to prevent disaster. This could be the final death throws here. Portal potential to come through, but they don't have enough maneuverability. They finally had somebody get there at the last second. It was DPS Jeffy Poo, but it didn't delay it enough. They immediately got vanquished and went down.
Portal was almost there too. They learned last time that the portal got canceled, but it wasn't enough. The shield couldn't do it. Very well played from UBC Thunder there, and Jenny-san picking up another MVP, 22-1. We talked about this, we highlighted it earlier, how little these UBC supports are pressured. 2 deaths between them. That is insane.
You can't allow that to happen.
Absolutely, that's absolutely diabolical there. Very well played from this UBC Thunder support line. Unfortunately, Moji and Cheskua could not get the monkey or the spider off of their back that Adderall was, because he was on them like white on rice, man.
That's just such a tough spot to be put in as a strategist, right? When you're getting dove every time, your tanks aren't really able to do as much because they're more focused on pushing the objective as best they can, or holding things down on the point if they are on the defensive side. And we saw that happen so often. I mean, even swapping into that triple tank towards the end as they were trying to portal through, it just did not prove to be enough. So every time that Adderall went in for a fight, they were distracting damage that could have been done against the back line or focused on someone else that was a bit squishier from the side of UBC. And because they had more of a tanky duelist, because we saw that flex style from Don Quixote and the rest of the team there for the Vanguard duelist with Mr. Fantastic, I mean, every time they tried to use a Doctor Strange ult, it didn't matter because they had their elongated form. Either way we saw any other ultimates used against them, you would see Mr. Fantastic just stay alive long enough, then get that 350 health heal themselves. They basically have a self-heal at this point, and they were just able to stay involved in the fight for so long. Yes, they went down 5 times, but that doesn't really matter when they're still able to be so effective and get triples and quads with their damage boosted Brainiac bounces. So this is a comp that's so hard to play against if you don't have the right strategy against it. And I think because of the Angela bans, that makes it so difficult for them to do anything against it.
Yeah, I think they had the right idea with the Wolverine. I think you just need to pair it up with the Phoenix so you can get that burst damage going, right? Because the moment somebody gets kidnapped, then you can kind of follow it up with the stun into the burst, into like, oh, they're dead now, right? Not that Wolverine needs the Phoenix team up, but the combination of those two heroes allows you to actually shred through the tank lane. I would have loved to see potentially a Punisher as well. You need high DPS into brawl compositions. That's the way you beat them. If they're going to run triple melee or double melee, if they're going to be insistent on running these beefy frontliners that kind of meatball against you, just find the meatball eliminator, find the Punisher, find the Moon Knight, right? Slice them in half, do what you need to do, turn them into spaghetti for all I care. But like, you cannot go haymaker for haymaker here, as we are actually going to be going into a break. So maybe you guys can find some meatballs to eat and scarf up while we go on this very short break before we potentially get into the final map between UBC Esports and University of Alaska. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back very soon.
Welcome back, everyone. We have UBC Thunder up by 2. It's deja vu for them, but actually a cleaner finish so far. It didn't go all the way to 3. 2-1 is all that they needed here for convergence on Symbiotic Surface. And seeing Yggdrasil Path, it's our map here, Shibby, yay! But also, it's going to be so annoying playing against Spider-Man again if they don't ban it out. I mean, why? I get not wanting to play against the Venom. It's not fun for the back line. But a Spider-Man specifically that is doing what they are doing, you got to get rid of it. I don't know.
Have they learned their lesson is the real
That's the question, yeah.
Has Spider-Man beaten them senseless enough, right? Maybe the CTE, the concussions have done too much damage, and they're like, you know what, we can take Spider-Man. Maybe they're like all of Spider-Man's rogues gallery, where they're like, surely the 50th time we rob a bank, we can take him, guys, with all our different contraptions. Yeah, I think Adderall is insane. I think Don Quixote as well. Look, I saw the guy in the chat. He said, every time we're doubting Don Quixote on... You're right. You know what? I'm sad.
That's
My
true.
bad.
That's true.
Every time I say, like, I feel like Don Quixote doesn't have the damage. They're not able to confirm the kills. Brainiac bounce. And I'm just like, all right, bro. My bad. So this is... You know what? I will stop doubting you, Don Quixote. Your Mr. Fantastic is elite. Pick it whenever you want. Because honestly, it's working. Like, the thing is, UBC Thunder, if the same bans come through and the same picks come through, they don't have to change a damn thing, because University of Alaska seemingly have not figured out what to play against it. They have bounced between multiple different heroes. I thought the Winter Soldier was potentially the answer. The Wolverine maybe was a piece of the puzzle, but they're not combining everything. I think the biggest issue, and there we go, there's the Spider-Man. But surely now, does the Venom save come in from UBC Thunder, as the Winter Soldier is going to be locked for their save. I think dealing with the Venom is a little bit easier when you have the defensive options available at University of Alaska. Winter Soldier, obviously, if you want to play the Wolverine and the Phoenix, you can do that as well. But yeah, like this is one map too long, in my opinion.
We'll see what happens, and yes, they do save the Venom, so they are still going to be a menace in the back line with the dive. That is their mentality, their go-to, but they can't yank people away as much with the Venom. It's more that you just need to focus the Venom and their health bars as much as possible. The Jeff ban come through. They don't want to have to worry about that, especially on Yggdrasil Path. There's a couple of good spots that you can send them packing off the map as well. Good ban onto the Groot this time as well. We saw the Groot saved by UBC Thunder before and worked out really well. Emma saved so they can hopefully use that choke slams to try and deal with the Venom a little bit more that way, and so they can like combo them and have their team focus on them. We'll see what they can do with the rest of it though.
Yeah, the interesting thing here as well for UBC Thunder is, like, sure, you've banned away Adderall's Spider-Man, but
yeah,
he plays Bucky, he plays Hela, he plays Mag, he plays Psy. Like, this guy can swap over to anything. I wouldn't be surprised if Adderall ends up playing tank here, and one of the other 3 Vanguard Duelist Flex players on this team is like, you know what? You can't be Spider-Man? Like, let me just play my Hela. Let me just play, you know, BP or something like that, or Namor, right? Like, there's a lot of flexibility with this UBC Thunder squad. The Daredevil does get saved here. Don Quixote might take that for a spin the 3rd time around and then walk to spawn and swap over to Fantastic again. We'll see. But Vivi Silverhand is going to lock in that Storm. I wish we could have seen University of Alaska go from the Spider-Man ban into the save on the Jeff, because that would have then forced, I think, UBC Thunder to ban away the Storm. And I think Jeff individually has a lot more value than a Storm most of the time.
100%.
Because those eats, right? The bubbles, the infinite healing spray, way more valuable than getting a potential Storm ultimate that will most likely get countered by an invisible boundary or a Luna Snow ultimate. As I see something here.
It's an Iron Fist, and that is, as we were kind of talking about before the show today, really good at just running down tanks with the amount of damage that they're able to put up. They have their own deflection that they can use too, take some damage away and sustain while they're in the mix with the other team. And it's another brawler as we see them come out, and very effective too on this first objective, because you have the different vertical ways of escape if you need to, and you can go into those hallways as you see on the left side there too. So I'm curious on exactly how we'll see them come out with UBC Thunder on the attack this side.
2, 1.
UBC Thunder are running Captain America here, and VTOM. This is essentially a quadruple melee composition from UBC Thunder. So the Storm should have relative success here. I do also like the brawl aspect of the Thor, but he's not going to be able to 1v4 here, so it'll be interesting to see. There's just a lot of front-loaded damage from University of Alaska's side. I think they're going to have to swap to a shield tank here. I don't know if they can just run the all-hands composition. This is very New York-esque, right? Bronx, Brooklyn. Like, I'm going to just throw hands at you and see how many punches you can take.
Yeah, and it's working out well enough for He Who Spades. I mean, they've gotten 2 picks so far. They've been able to do enough damage against the frontline fighters of UBC Thunder. So we do see the Magneto coming through instead from MSJZ. They haven't had a chance to really play Captain America this entire time, so unfortunate for them, but Mag is just one of those standard bread and butter Vanguards, and we'll see them be used to fruition. And while we do see the Bucky available for DPS Jeffy Poo, I'm looking for them to try and get their ultimate online as quickly as possible. They have the Kraken Impact available to them now. We also have the Omega Hurricane about to be online as well. Brainiac Bounce at some point, but they still have a long way to go. And, well, they do need to pop the invisible boundary if they want to stay alive, and that's exactly what they're doing here. No Sharknado coming through with Jeff Nado, but they're still going to do some good damage, baiting out those ultimates. And Jessica actually using the damage boost here to see if they can take them away, using the Kraken Impact with it as well. And I like this combination from the side of Alaska Fairbanks Varsity. This is a great combo. This is the best look we've seen them for the first fight.
I'm going to pop your bubble right there. If you look over at Adderall's side, the guy's got a Dance of the Butterfly ready to go and rip onto University of Alaska's backline. And sure, I like the fight win using it, but now he just gets a free ultimate here. Surely he can just dive in and take out, you know, University of Alaska's backline. Like, this is just a free Psylocke ultimate. Pair that up with the Sonic Seduction, that might be the move.
Did have the God of Thunder coming out as well, though, from He Who Spades, trying to do enough AoE damage to keep them off the objective. Support ults galore, though. Meteor M on towards the backline. DPS Jeffy Poo actually can't survive long enough, and MSJZ, a double of their own, still waiting for the Dance of the Butterfly because they don't need it just yet when the rest of their team is slaying out.
Very well played from UBC Thunder. I really thought he was going to let this rip after that invisible boundary, but University of Alaska Fairbanks does go down there. The swap from the composition from UBC Thunder as Xbox Live is going to be channeling that portal. I think they'll be able to get it in. Let's see.
That they do, and there's the Omega Hurricane following through afterwards. Beautiful work. Dance of the Butterfly, though, waiting for them to come out of it. Finally, they'll be able to counter them at least a little bit with the extra damage that's being boosted. Invisible boundary, too, and here's the Dance of the Butterfly now enacted on the backline. One goes down, so does two, and there goes the rest of the squad. The perfect capture of the first point.
Very well played from Adderall, and I love that psionic seduction, specifically right when Xbox Live popped out of that portal. Very well played from them, and I like the move that University of Alaska tried to do, right? Vivi Silverhand came in with that Omega Hurricane, tried to get UBC Thunder off of the point, forced a reaction, forced a support ultimate, but like you mentioned, and like we talked about, that Dance of the Butterfly having essentially free reign as Chezkua was nowhere near that Luna Snow ult. And now we see a little bit of a composition swap. Strange for Xbox Live is just going to get absolutely mauled.
Not where they wanted to find themselves, in between a rock and a root on the side of Yggdrasil Path, and they need to pick up their teeth after they got kicked in on the curb there. So a good look from UBC Thunder, but VTOM holding on to their psionic seduction, waiting for their prime chance to strike and seduce the backline. Oh, Omega Hurricane actually coming through this time quickly as well. I feel like that's a little preemptive, though. Easily bat it away and suffocate the Hurricane from getting started. But as I say that, there's the damage boosted play from University of Alaska Fairbanks, and they take it in stride. UBC Thunder, even with the Brainiac bounce online, they can't even do anything with it.
Yeah, Chezkua once again, right, popping that Luna Snow ultimate, to save Vivi, but also to damage boost that Omega Hurricane through the invisible boundary from Internet User. But if you look at UBC Thunder, their ult economy is looking a little bit better. We'll see if Jenny Sun is willing to pop this ultimate and get that damage boosted Brainiac bounce. Moji Shark does have the invisible boundary ready, available for University of Alaska. Xbox Live is going to have to hit a massive Eye of Agamotto to swing this fight in their favor. He's looking for the opportune time.
Good whip up as well from Mr. Fantastic Eye of Agamotto, though, but no, the Sonic Seduction counters it, and they get frozen instead. Dance of Both Worlds comes through, invisible boundary as well. Meteor M, if they can get a good pick on it, might be enough. A great shield play, though, from the Doctor Strange to keep them away from it. So we do see MSJZ at least trying to stay alive, but I did hear a bit of some DPS Jeffy Poo with the last stand available, and they didn't really get the conversions that they wanted. Another Omega Hurricane. Vivi has been so clinical with how quickly they build these up, and another freeze onto Adderall, forcing out the Dance of the Butterfly, taking out the back line, but that was a great stop, at least for now. But UBC Thunder finally able to fight their demons off from the second checkpoint, and they will capture it.
Both of these points have been won the same way, Vodible. Chezkua opts in to use the Luna Snow ult to damage boost one of the DPSs, and then once Invisible Boundary gets baited out, Moji Shark has to use it for one of the Brainiac Bounce or the Psionic Seduction or something like that. Adderall comes in to clean it up with the Dance of Butterfly. The first point was a triple kill for himself. This one was a quadra kill. Now, I'm looking into my crystal ball. If they do that again, I'm thinking the third point is going to be taken the same way.
Can't allow the Emma and Psylocke to be available like they have been, and well, we see how effective it is for UBC Thunder. Eye of Agamotto does get pushed back by the gravity pull and push from the Invisible Woman. That's why they need to wait for that to be wasted before going for it. Too many counters to the Eye of Agamotto nowadays, but DPS Jeffy Poo is going to be the counter to Don Quixote on the Mr. Fantastic, so they do keep it at bay for now.
Yeah, and I'm not hating this Wolverine pick. Again, DPS Jeffy Poo trying to get the kidnaps going for the rest of the team. But when Invisible Women's are there, when the bubbles are there, it becomes really hard to play Wolverine as long as they're actively playing around it with their cooldowns. Jenny Sun does have the Luna ult available. Could be using it in anticipation of this Omega Hurricane. But I'd like to burn the invisible boundary. Instead, they're going to opt in for the Luna ultimate to come in and save their team, and then damage boost after. Looks like Jenny Sun and Chesku are going to be trading Luna Snow ultimates. But unfortunately, when it's a damage boosted Dance with the Butterfly, it's just going to rip through everybody.
Can't do anything to stay alive, having to go back to their spawn to hope to not get staggered too much, but they will dash in and slice and dice the rest of them. University of Alaska Fairbanks varsity only has one final hold that they can put up against them. Thankfully, they do have a couple ultimates available. Meteor M, last stand as well, and the invisible boundary, but it's also come down to timing. Brainiac bounce does go through. Meteor M from MSJJ, or JZ, excuse me. He Who Spades also has their own Meteor M. Neither of them really getting the picks that they wanted, but Jenny Sun going down is massive. They don't have the Luna Snow available to them. They don't have any chance to get back, but you see them going for the portal instead. Now there is the Wolverine and taking them off the objective and trying to force them off the OT, but the portal does come through by Jenny Sun, buying them at least a couple more seconds in the shield so it won't get delayed. Wolverine actually just charges into the portal and stops them from even touching the point. Oh my goodness!
What a play. What a play. You want to go through this portal, you got to get through me. Charges heroically in. That could have gone horribly, right? DPS Jeffy Boo could have got bursted. He could have died.
I think that was a last stand as well.
Yeah, there was a last stand potentially ready to go. Like, University of Alaska Fairbanks have put themselves in a position to win this map and potentially take us to a map 4 here. Because it didn't go all the way, it's nearly 3 points. I would say it's 2 points and 98% there. There is a world where the Fairbanks can actually come away with a map win, especially because it doesn't look like Don Quixote is willing to swap off of this Mr. Fantastic, but this time we see VTOM on the Hella, and like I said, Adderall is going to be going onto that Venom. You've got 4 players that can both play Duelist and Vanguard. And as I say that, I'm sorry, Don Quixote. I underestimated you. He's going to swap over to Namor. Is this guy listening? Is he in my walls, by the way? What is he doing?
I think he is. I think he is. I mean, he's on the West Coast as well, so maybe the connection's just that much better for him to hear your comms or something. But DPS Jeffy Poo, though, looking at them on the Psylocke this time and seeing what they can do for their squad. I mean, we saw them get 9 final hits, do some good work on the University of Alaska Fairbanks varsity side. But the big thing is everyone on the team, except from Strategist, got some good final hits. They were all contributing to that final hold at the end towards the spawn room. So all comes down to this one for their side of things.
Man, I like this dive coming out from Adderall here, using the terrain. He's going to be able to swing out pretty easily. You've got to confirm kills with these dives. You can't just be putting the pressure on. You've got to, either Hella or Namor needs to be there when the dive is ready to burst that individual down. Because if you just go on that backline, you waste all your cooldowns, you actually give up so much space. That's just a double Venom battle. Xbox Live trying to do what he can. Gets taken down, though.
Yeah, dove in without much of a plan, it felt like, on that play, and we do see the wall of water come through and at least reduce some of the healing, but you do see the drop down. Vivi Silverhand getting taken out, and VTOM as well. Some trades between these two teams, but the moral of the story is that the god of the seas is here to reign supreme in Don Quixote.
Yeah, that you know, reduced healing on top of the Venom dive really is what kind of puts the 1-2 punch to this. And we just need VTOM to come in and hit a couple headshots, right? You just really realistically need to hit 1 or 2 on top of that dive, on top of the team up from the Namor, and it's over as the horn is available. Might be looking to drop it a little bit early if, you know, University of Alaska overcommit here. Nice Feast of the Abyss. Doesn't really land on anybody, but maybe we'll be able to give him some time here as the kill comes in.
Oh, Vivi Silverhand. I don't think the Daredevil is the best bet on this play, so we'll see if they stick with it or swap to something else. They do almost have the Let the Devil Out available to them as well, but they're getting pushed back to the brink, and this is another deja vu scenario, right? We saw them get stopped on Convergence. Couldn't really do too much of it. They got, like, past the first checkpoint at least, but because it's Convoy, they're having less luck so far. I mean, Xbox Live even being forced the swap to the Hulk. This go around to try and build up that World Breaker Hulk. They have the Eye of Agamotto available. The Namor is going to survive, but at least the backline does go down. A good bubble onto the Hela, and they somehow can't stay alive themselves. Great snipe from Vitom. A good pushback, and DPS Jeffy Poo having the Kraken impact does force them out of play. Oh no! Good cook.
Thunder is gonna get staggered here. Adderall, unfortunately, won't be able to join this fight, and I don't think actually anyone can swap over to the Strange Portal because they've all got ultimates ready to go. Are they gonna actually be able to contest and walk this down? They should be there, as there's only 2 members pushing this cart. Now 1. University of Alaska is trying to do their best, but the ultimate bevy has started. Jenny-san pops the Between Both Worlds.
Great between both worlds. We'll see if they get any damage boost too, especially with the reduced healing that comes through, trying to snipe the rest of the competition. Hell Unleashed here with the extra damage, but there is the shield from the Doctor Strange completely blocking it, so it's a moot point. Doesn't matter though when Don Quixote is getting doubles themselves and taking them off the objective for now. World Breaker Hulk is contained, and they will be sent back to the Gulag themselves. So UBC Thunder, good lockdown for that first checkpoint, and time ticking down. 40 seconds before University of Alaska Fairbanks varsity gets swept in this series.
And they had 5 ults prior to that fight. Vodible, UBC Thunder has still held on to 3, right? Feast of the Abyss is available, Meteor M, and the Invisible Boundary in the event that somehow University of Alaska picks up an ultimate, whether it's the Kraken Impact, the Eye of Agamotto. I mean, Vivi Silverhand surely won't be able to build up a Omega Hurricane in time. It's 15 seconds on the clock. University of Alaska have to start moving, and moving now.
Oh, the Fuse, the Abyss as well, making it difficult. Eye of Agamotto, you can hear popping off in the background. They need to get back to their defensive line to keep them alive. And a great drop down for a KO. Pushed forward is Internet User, and look at how many ultimates still available. Meteor M is going to be a dunk onto the competition if they even need to use it. Invisible Boundary, Elastic Effort as well, but look how many support ults they still have remaining. They don't even need to worry about a single one of them. Somebody finally trying to touch the last second, and Armed and Dangerous. No, they're just going to be armed and undangerous because they can't even get to the objective with the Kraken Impact, and yet again 0 points are awarded to University of Alaska Fairbanks varsity. It will be UBC Thunder completing the sweep for the second time, only dropping a single map in their journey to the grand finals for the West playoffs of Division 3.
And Adderall finally picking up an MVP for himself, with Jenny-san picking up 2. I mean, did a really good job. Showed the hero flexibility we talked about. I mean, UBC Thunder coming away with that 3-0 victory. Vodible, this is the first time we've had a 3-0 double day for us. Most of the time, if not every single time we've casted, there's been at least one best of 5 that goes the distance. But very well played to UBC Thunder. They are going to make their way to the grand finals. And unfortunately for University of Alaska, they are going to be playing in the consolation bracket for that 3rd place placement. UBC Thunder, I find it hard to believe that this team has a match, has an equal, when so many different members can just swap at the like you said, at the drop of a dime, right? Like they could just swap their comp and say, I'm going to play Captain America, I'm going to play, Mr. Fantastic, I'm going to play, Bucky, Namor, all this kind of stuff. I mean, they play the good stuff, they play the OP stuff, and they got a little bit of pocket picks ready to go. How do you deal and play against a team like this? It feels impossible to game plan against them.
You don't. I mean, we saw the ban on the Spider-Man, and it came too late. We saw how effective Venom was, but because they banned the Spider-Man and weren't even focusing on the Hela, I feel like because the Hela bans always came from UBC and not the other side, it made it difficult for them to figure out, oh, do we need to also focus on the Hela Namor? Yes, you also need to focus on the Hela Namor because of how effective UBC are in multiple different compositions, especially the unorthodox one that we saw. They just don't know what to ban against them. And that's similar to what we've seen in Ignite for teams like Virtus Pro, right? Where they had that Daredevil that came out that was so effective. They had the Captain America that they just kept saving every single time so no one could do anything against it because they're not going to ban a Captain America first. And that's what ended up happening here with even the MRC specific bans, is that you have to focus on something at the start, but there's always going to be one comfort pick available for the other team to save. And if you don't have answers to it, especially with the Angela getting banned out every time, mind you, it's just a tough spot to find themselves in. So it was a slippery slope from the start that they completely free-falled afterwards, and they just could not recover. So hopefully in the future, they'll be able to have some better options against it, maybe more flexible heroes that they themselves can pick. But I think it was just a bit of an outclassing from one side to the other. So best of luck in that third place match. But UBC, whoever faces them in the grand finals, has their work cut out for them.
Yeah, gonna be tough here. That grand finals match with whatever we end up broadcasting next week, whether that's gonna be the Div 1 finals or Div 2, Div 3,
We still
whatever.
got stuff this week, though. Rocket League CS tomorrow, League on Thursday, Overwatch 2 on Friday. Nothing next week, mind you, because it is Thanksgiving week. So grand finals for all competitions, first week of December, in 2 weeks on that side, Shibby.
And, as we get into the break for next week, I kind of know what I want, right? I know what I want to pick up here. I think for me, I need Wenzel's Farms meat sticks. Made in Wisconsin. They go great with gaming, which I'm going to be doing a lot of over the Thanksgiving break. Having that extra time, especially working adults like me and you. Thanksgiving break is amazing, right? That's our time to catch up on everything that we need to. And realistically, Wenzel's Farms, they've got 14 mouth-watering flavors.
That's a lot.
And they've been making it since 1977, way before me, you, or most of the esports competitions were born. I don't think anyone that's a competitor now in any major tier 1 esport, I don't think they were born in 1977. So, they've been around before esports. They'll probably be around after esports. So you might as well eat them when you're doing esports. I think that's the big thing. Really, really good. They're tasty. So many different flavors. It's actually crazy. Like, I need a Wenzel's Meat Farm money spread, but with the meat spread. I need a meat spread.
Well, this is actually our final show for the semester here, Shibby. It's a little bittersweet. It's been great to cover the action here for NECC, for Marvel Rivals Collegiate. We get to hand things off for those playoffs finals in 2 weeks' time to CB and Keg. But Shibby, do you have any final thoughts before we send things away?
I'm just excited on the future for Marvel Rivals Collegiate Esports. I think the fact that we had 8 different divisions, Div 1 to 8, and I don't even want to get into the amount of different subdivisions there are, like the East A, West A, West, like there's so many, and we were able to
over 200 teams signed up, mind you.
Yeah, like 200 teams. You've got people playing down in gold all the way up to one above all players. We've got professional players competing at collegiate level, right? Like there is such a open pathway for what this game has and what it has to offer within the collegiate space. The fact that NetEase was able to, create such a robust esports scene with the tournament within 2 months after the game's released, 3 months, and adapt that over to the collegiate side. I mean, shout out to obviously NECC for being, right on the money, right, with it. Like, hey, we're going to pick this up. We're going to introduce this. Them being the first and only current official collegiate partner with Marvel Rivals is really, really important. True. It sets the stage. It sets the standard. And I think NECC has always done a good job doing that. So, obviously shout out to them and shout out to NetEase for, officially licensing and sponsoring NECC for these tournaments.
Also, the collegiate perks that college students get just to have free costumes in the game. No game does that. Make sure you get those. I think they just announced new ones recently that they're refreshing up with that too. So take advantage of those perks and send in your I think it's college email just to confirm it. They have a little form for it too. But shout out to our production crew, Reach That and Rare Adam, who made this all possible today. Shout out to you, Shibby, for being my duo for the semester. We'll be back next semester though in the spring. Make sure you sign up when those signups go live. Figure out your teams for the spring because the competition only gets more competitive. Thank you for tuning in to the semifinals of the NECC Marvel Rivals Collegiate. We'll see you in just 2 weeks' time with the finals with CB and Keg.